Have you ever looked at a simple plant leaf and thought, how does that hold the blueprint for the entire next generation? Well, today we're going to shrink down, way down to the microscopic level to uncover that hidden factory. It's an absolute masterpiece of natural engineering that ensures the future of a species. Okay, so right off the bat, we're hit with some pretty technical terms, right? Microsporophyll, microsporangium. Yeah, sounds like a mouthful. But don't let the names intimidate you. They're really just describing a perfectly organized system, and the key is just understanding how they all fit together. To make this super simple, we're going to use an analogy. Imagine one of those classic Russian nesting dolls, where you open one up and there's a smaller one inside, and another one inside that. That is the perfect mental model for what we're about to explore. So let's start with our biggest, outermost doll. In the plant world, this is called the microsporophyll. You can just think of it as the main container for this entire process. The word itself actually gives us a clue. Phyllo means leaf. So a microsporophyll is basically a leaf that's been given a very special job. Instead of just focusing on photosynthesis, its main role is to hold and protect all the reproductive machinery that's tucked away inside. So in our analogy, the microsporophyll is that largest doll. It's the main container, the structure you see from the outside that's housing the entire operation. Okay, so if we open up that first doll, our microsporophyll, what do we find inside? Well, this brings us to the next level down, the microsporangia. Now this is where the magic really happens. The microsporangium, or as it's more commonly called, the pollen sac, is the dedicated factory. It's this highly specialized little compartment whose only purpose is to produce the male spores, which, you guessed it, will eventually become pollen grains. This whole nested design is an incredible evolutionary advantage because it keeps this critical process sheltered deep inside. And this illustrates the next step in our analogy perfectly. We've opened the outer container, and now we're looking at the workshop inside. This is the facility where the actual manufacturing takes place.
So, what fills this workshop? I mean, every factory needs raw material, right? And in the microsporangium, that material is the sporogenous tissue.
The key word to hang on to here is potential. This tissue isn't the final product. Not even close. Instead, it's a dense cluster of identical cells, and each one holds the promise of becoming a spore. But they haven't specialized just yet. This is our third doll in the set. It's not a single finished piece. It's the bulk material. Think of it kind of like a block of clay in a sculptor's studio, just waiting to be molded into all these individual works of art. All right, let's zoom in one last time, past the collective tissue to look at the individual units that make it all up. We finally arrived at the very heart of the process, the microspore mother cell. And this is where we shift from the group to the individual. While the sporanginous tissue is the entire mass, the microspore mother cell, or MMC, is the single specific cell that's actually going to undergo meiosis, that special division that finally creates the male spores. And here it is, the smallest final doll in our set. You can't break it down any further. This is the fundamental functional unit at the core of this entire structure, just poised and ready for its big transformation. So we've journeyed all the way from the outermost leaf down to the single core cell. Now, let's zoom back out and see how this entire incredible blueprint fits together. And here it is, the complete picture. You have the specialized leaf, the microsporophyll. Inside it, you find the pollen sac, the microsporangium. That sac is filled with a mass of potential cells, the sporogenous tissue. And that tissue is made up of the individual precursor cells, the microspore mother cells. Each step contains the next. It's just a perfect, efficient, nested system. It really is a profound idea. This entire intricate microscopic factory, responsible for ensuring the next generation of the plant, all of it originates from something as humble as a modified leaf. It's a true evolutionary masterpiece, honed over millions of years for maximum protection and efficiency. And that brings us to our final question. We've reached the starting block, we've got the cell that's ready to go. So what happens next when that microspore mother cell finally divides? Well, that right there is the birth of the pollen grain, and that is the beginning of a whole new incredible journey.